Miss B here. Welcome to episode number 3 of Be Creative. I'm super excited to be back with you today. I hope you're having a great week. And I know this last Wednesday was Earth Day. So I'm sure in your classes you did a couple of activities around recycling and keeping our earth clean and healthy. And so in honor of that, I thought we might try to use another unconventional art material that you should have enough of at home to make something interesting. So I'm going to work with water bottles today. I've got one right here. We're going to turn into a cool spiral that you can hang up in your garden. And I've got a few others that I'm going to show you how to make some creative things out of. I found that you can take plastic water bottles or even big juice jugs. You can cut them up and melt them a little bit and turn them into cool sculpture. So this was my first attempt at a cool flower. And this one might be even neater if I then took it and painted it lots of neat colors, or even Sharpie. You can use Sharpie on the plastic of the water bottles to create some neat things. So our assignment today is going to be finding a recycled material around your house and turning it into art. So for you, that might mean I'm going to grab a cereal box and I'm going to cut out a tree and make a silhouette on a backdrop. Or for you, that might be I'm going to take magazines and make a cool collage. Or you might want to try one of these water bottle crafts. But whatever you choose to do, I want you to work with recycled materials. I'm going to show you how to do just these couple of things that I did, just so you have some ideas to work with. And then I'm going to set you free to try your own. So if you want to make a water bottle spiral for your garden, you just get a water bottle. And the first step is just to get the labels off, which is sometimes the hardest part, depending on the brand. This one's coming off pretty easy, so that's the good news. And you do need to get as much of that paper off of your bottle as possible because you want to be able to color the bottle and you want that clear plastic to be what shines through for you. And so I've got just a little bit more here. I'm just going to peel off gently. There we go. And then here comes the fun part. We get to take our Sharpie markers today. And we're going to go ahead and color. Now, I know sometimes you have the washable Crayola markers, and for a lot of our crafts, I say, hey, you can use any kind of marker you have. But in this case, you are going to definitely need permanent marker, not washable marker. The washable marker won't stay on the plastic bottles, but permanent marker definitely will. So I'm going to take my marker, I'm going to take my bottle, and I'm just going to start to color here. And you can do this any way you want. You can color like rainbow lines, or you could do polka dots. But eventually we're going to cut this into a big long spiral piece. So if you color the lines, it's going to turn out a little better. It's going to give you a lot of full color. You just want to make sure that you're laying down your color evenly and over the whole area of your bottle. I really like that purple, but I'm going to let it bleed into another color here. I'm going to grab another color and kind of let it flow. Let's see here, I'm going to get a pink, because who doesn't like purple and pink together, right? And I'm going to start flowing that right into the purple. There we go. And you can see I'm getting a nice solid lay of color all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and speed this process up to the end and then show you the next step. Okay, as you can see, I've got my bottle completely covered. I went with a lot of different greens and blues, and you can see I did a design this way around the middle of the bottle, and then I did a design this way on this side, and then I kind of followed the pattern of the actual bottle up here at the top and went along with the grain of the bottle. Any way you'd like to do it is fine, as long as you've covered the entire bottle, and it doesn't matter which colors you choose, they all look beautiful when the sunlight shines through them. Okay, so once it's all the way colored, you're ready to go ahead and cut your water bottle into a cool spiral. The first thing you need is you need a little starter point to get into the bottle and to begin to cut with your scissors. And I don't want you to do that yourself because the easiest way to do that is with a knife. So you're going to want to have your mom or your dad take a knife from the kitchen and just cut a little starter hole. It doesn't have to be big, just teeny tiny, just enough for you to get the tip of your scissors into. And then you can take your scissors and slide them into that little starter area. And then we cut just a straight line all the way around the bottom to get the bottom part of the water bottle off. Almost there. There we go. And that goes off to the side, and now we have a bottomless bottle. Now the next step is going to be to start to create the spiral. So as we're cutting now, we're going to angle our scissors just slightly, and we're going to cut, 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 and we're going to keep cutting at an angle because we don't want for the bottle to separate. We want to keep it in one big long string. You can go with skinnier lines or you can go with fatter lines. The key is just to cut until you get to this part of the bottle right up here. I'll call it the shoulder, where the shoulder of the bottle meets the body of the bottle. And when you're there, then you've got a big long spiral. I'm gonna actually try and cut this one even one more time so that I can get two tails from this one bottle. This might work, it might not. I have not tried that before, but I want my tail to be just a little skinnier, so I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna cut right down the middle of the spiral I did the first time. If you do a skinnier spiral, you won't have to do this step, but I'm gonna create a double spiral because I wanna really be able to see the light glisten through there and really get a lot of curl when it's hanging on the tree. So I'm gonna give myself a double spiral there, and you can see how cool that is. And then what you do is you just take this and you go out and you find a tree branch and you hang this right on the branch, and then you pull these down so that they hang down and the sun catches them. And you can do more than one and just nestle the next one right inside and put them all along one branch and have a whole little garden of these cool sun catchers hanging down, and you'll see lots of fun rainbow colors and it'll make you happy. So that's how you make a recycled water bottle sun catcher. But if you're interested in trying to do something a little trickier, a little more complicated, you can try and make some sculpture like I did here out of recycled plastic bottles. So what I did was I grabbed a juice bottle, and I just only have the top left. It was an Ocean Spray juice bottle. I cut the bottom off, and that's how I got the bottom of my flower, as you can see. And then I cut a bunch of strips from the sides of my bottle. Just this side as a strip, this side as a couple of strips, so on and so forth, to get some different pieces. And I set those off to the side. And then what I did was I put them on a baking sheet, and I just wrapped mine in foil just because I wasn't sure what might happen with the plastic. And then I put them in the oven. So I took my plastic pieces, set them flat on my baking sheet, and then put them in the oven. I used the toaster oven, and it only literally took 2 minutes on the toast setting. And I got these cool plastic pieces, and they're hard. They're even harder than the regular water bottle because they're a little thicker and smaller. And so they melted into lots of fun little shapes. And then I took those shapes together and glued them together to make this flower. Now, obviously, when you do this, you need to be careful because even though it's only been in the oven a couple of minutes, it may come out warm. So make sure you're using an oven mitt to take your tray out. You're having mom and dad help you. You're letting the pieces cool before you try to put them together into some sort of a neat sculpture. Now, since I did that one earlier, I have this bottom of our water bottle from what we just did that I might bake just to see what happens. I think what I'm gonna do with it is I'm gonna take each little area and I'm gonna cut them like little petals. I'm just gonna cut a little line down each of the little indents on the bottom of the bottle. And if we're lucky, we might get a cool flower effect. It might melt and turn into like a cool flower. I'm also gonna take the rest of this bottle, since I didn't use the top, and I'm gonna take a similar technique to what we were using earlier. I'm gonna cut down to the neck of the bottle, but I wanna cut little thin strips because when they get in the heat, they're gonna kind of curl and bend and fold. So I'm gonna just cut out some sections, and hopefully when it goes into the heat and comes back out, I'll get a really neat flower effect on this one too. I'm not totally positive how it's gonna turn out, but that's half the fun of art, right? Is that there's no wrong or right way to do it, and that every time it's different. And sometimes those differences are good. They can surprise you and you can end up with something even better than you anticipated. Sometimes you end up with a beautiful oops, but most of the time you end up with something even better than you could have dreamt. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut just the rest of this bottle like I've cut here. And then I'm gonna put it this way onto my baking sheet. And then I'm gonna take that straight to my toaster oven for just 2 minutes. And I'll be right back to show you the finished product. All right, as promised, I'm back. I've taken all my pieces that I cut out and I placed them in the toaster oven for just a couple of minutes. Literally, it only takes a couple. If you're using an oven, obviously you need to get it up to temperature first, but it doesn't take much to get the plastic to melt. I recommend sitting right there with the light on your oven or your toaster oven so you can see, because you'll see when it starts to cool, it starts to curl up and starts to melt, and it's kind of a cool process to watch. And then just have mom or dad pull it out of the oven, wait for it to cool off before you grab it. But now it's nice and solid. Okay, so I took it out of the oven, we got those cool curls, and now the next step is just to bend this back to make it look like a neat flower. And I may color these petals with some Sharpie. And then I might even take my original flower here and glue it down in the middle so I can get a nice big flower. Maybe color these with pretty flower Sharpie colors and color this maybe like a bunch of green leaf around my flower. But you can see what I end up doing with this on the gallery wall. I'll put up my picture of this as well as my picture of my water bottle sun catcher. And then as you send me pictures, I'll put yours up there as well. I hope you have a great, great week. I love you, miss you, kiss you. Take care.